Hey Mom, life in Haifa is pretty fun and exciting. I've been having a blast out here and the guys on the team seem to be pretty great guys. The hardest thing for me right now is how much I miss you. Can't wait for you to come out here and looking forward for you to see what I see. The wins and the losses are starting to get a little frustrating. Lost a few close games. Coach is telling us to stay positive, and I feel that we will be all right at the end of the season. Next time I write you, I'm sure we'll be on a winning streak. Looking forward to your calls. Love you, your son Ike.
New surroundings, new culture. Different food, driving habits, currency conversions. The life of an international basketball player is one of constant adjustments. Many are Americans like Ike Ofebu, who have made a career playing abroad. When Maccabi Haifa's new players began arriving in Israel back in September, they found certain familiarities to life at home. The beaches and year-round warm weather of this city by the sea was a welcoming sight.
Reminds me of Cancun out here, playing in Mexico and winning a championship out there. This definitely reminds me of Cancun all over again. It's a beautiful sight. Well, seeing two of my teammates from the team I played in Mexico with, Adrian Henning and Ike Ofebu, both played here the year before, and seeing that they've been in the championship 2 years in a row, it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up.
I've known Renee for 5 years. We played together for about 4 years. So I've always told them last year, we talked a lot when I played here in Haifa. So, I mean, they knew what to expect coming in.
I thought I was going to be seeing camels, to be honest with you, when I first came, so.
It smells terrible, but it's not like every day you ride a camel. So, I mean, it's something to do.
Having a good chemistry, I mean, your imports and your locals, they have to be able to get along and trust each other. So this is nothing new for us to hang out together. No one's has a major ego or anything like that on the team.
If you see a team that they connect off the court, it says a lot. I mean, you could be talented, but if you're not able to put it together with everybody on the court, it's not gonna amount to anything.
American owner Jeff Rosen has created a pipeline of players from North and South America over the years for his Maccabi Haifa team. It has been an off-season of rebuilding after a tough loss in last year's championship series.
We have to rebuild the team, restructure the team, try to find the right pieces of the new puzzle, different budget, different strategy of the game. So basically what we did, we see like every year we start discussing players and we come up with, I believe, a very good solution.
Well, I hope it'll be successful again. We lost our captain and we lost our leading American player. So we go back to work. It's what we always do. We've put together a new group of Americans. We went with some of our young Israelis. I think you'll see Alex Chubrovich get his chance at the center position this year. Dagan Azuri is our new captain. Dagan was one of the best shooting, still is, one of the best shooting twos in Israel, but he's a fella that has always exhibited leadership, and he's exhibiting great leadership for us now. And then on top of it, we're bringing back perhaps our best player, Ike. Ike is our most dynamic and dominant player. I mean, last year his efficiency, he shot, I believe, in the low 40s. At the three, he's almost unstoppable underneath, draws fouls, and he's a player that has led a Mexican team to a championship in his career, and he's been one of the scoring leaders in Mexico. So this team is evolving and developing, and it's going through its chemistry formulation, if you will.
Today in practice, shooting, 5-on-0 zone, stretching, 5-on-5, starting our stuff, continuing to their stuff. I'm not new at Maccabi Haifa, so I knew exactly where I'm coming.
Rami Hadar, who was our assistant coach 2 years back. Rami came in second in the second division title game last year. And Rami's been one of our prospects to be in our coaching staff and to be a future head coach.
The mix doesn't come easy for any coach, no matter where in the world they apply their trade. An entirely new roster gives Rami a clean slate to work with. There's an urgency.
Working for Jeff is something that I wanted to do for a lot of years. Club is special, unique in the Israeli basketball environment. Jeff set the goals, like every season, and I'm in a position to fulfill them. One side Dougie, one side Tomer under the basket, Jeff and Ike. I want tempo, strong passing. Let's go. First of all, I think that when you're coaching, you have to be yourself. If you are trying to hide and be somebody else, you are not going to be successful. I think that players respect honesty. They respect that you are telling them in their face whatever you think is wrong and you want to fix. I think they have to get used to the direct approach, but when they get used, it creates mutual respect. And I'm built this way. I spent a lot of years in the Israeli army. I'm not the kind of guy that will let practices fall into chaos. First of all, Ike set the screen here, the second screen, right? Jeff sets the first one. Now Jeff is rolling down, Ike is coming up, and we finish boom, boom, okay? I was born to do that. I love it. Keeps you young, keeps you energetic. For me, it's a blessing to come every day to work.
Training camp is well underway for Maccabi Haifa. Coach Rami Hadar learns more about each of his players as he continues to fit the pieces into his system.
I look at the game from a defensive point of view. I think that Rene is one of the best or even the best player off the ball defensively. Usually playing the 3 or the 2. And for instance, if the penetration is coming from this side and the 4 has got to go to help, he will always be in position to prevent the opponent from rebounding to close passing lanes. When he plays the ball, he can cover the guards with long arms and quickness. This year, things came together for Alex. He's a late bloomer. He came late to the game. He played volleyball until the age of 18. And then started to play basketball. So far, he's doing extremely well, to my opinion. Alex is very, very good dealing the pick and roll away off the basket. When his player is running up to set the screen for the dribbler, he jumps what we call show amazingly well. And when his player rolls, he's always back on time to deflect the ball. Ike is most effective for switching the pick and roll. When they try to push the ball inside, Ike is trying to fight for position from the top and direct his player to turn here. And again, in this case, we are bringing a trap from the weak side guard. Usually, Dagan is playing the 3 because of that. Dagan is a very, very smart player on defense. He knows when to deny, when to give the help. A very, very interesting player on defense. Amazing instincts.
A key component of Haifa's training camp came at the end. The team built in a one-week barnstorming trip to North America for a set of exhibition games against NBA teams. The first stop on this tour, Washington, D.C. For many of the Israelis, it was their first time in the U.S. For the Americans, it was a welcome break back home.
I was in Israel 2 months, almost. And it's amazing to be back in the U.S. of A. You know, home is always special. So I'm just excited and happy to be back.
Washington is one of the only places where we had some time to walk around. And I got to see the White House and the monuments, and it was pretty amazing. I was happy that I got to do that.
You know, some of the guys never been to the U.S. before, so it's kind of exciting to get to tell the guys a little bit about our history of our country. This is your first time in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Really?
Never been here, just got my visa like 2 weeks ago.
You know, my dad grew up in Nigeria, but we were all born here, born and raised here.
But your parents grew up in Nigeria?
Yeah.
After a few days of preparation, Haifa squared off against the Washington Wizards. The game was tightly contested. 3 Israelis scored in double figures, led by Dagan Yivzori's 23 points.
I had a great first half, I think. I can shoot, that's what I do, so they left me a few open looks and I made them.
Although Haifa held the lead for most of the game, they were edged by Washington in the fourth quarter by 6. The final score, 101-95 Washington. Haifa next crossed the country for a game against the Portland Trailblazers.
These are our friendly games, our exhibition games. It's a chance for our guys to leave Israel and come together as a team.
Competing with these athletes, best athletes in the world, and seeing that sometimes you can even stay in the game with them and give them a fight, it's a great experience for everybody.
Game 3 was just down the west coast to Sacramento, hometown of one of Maccabi Haifa's newcomers.
I had 35 people in Sacramento. That's where I was born, and it was I had family come from Los Angeles down as well, so it was good to see uncles, cousins, aunties. It was like a family reunion, pretty much, playing against the Kings. It was a great opportunity.
Obviously, they proved when they play the Wizards that they have talent to play and to compete. And if we're not going to be ready to play, they're going to be right there with us.
Last stop across the border into Canada for a matchup against the Toronto Raptors.
It builds team chemistry, being on the road for 12 days.
You're playing the best competition in the world. They've got to measure up who they are, how much further they need to grow as individuals and as teammates.
In another close game, Maccabi Haifa went on a 16-0 run to take a 6-point lead with 5 minutes remaining. But the Raptors turned it around, closing the game out with a 14-4 run of their own for the win. The value of the trip was captured through shared experiences of traveling together and competing against the world's best talent. A team transformed, headed back to Israel for the start of their season. After the season's first few weeks, Maccabi Haifa found themselves in a hole with a sub-500 record. Changes needed to be made, and fast, as the midpoint of the season was quickly approaching. The team first looked to point guard and found a familiar face. Hanan Coleman re-signed with the team he was part of just 2 seasons ago.
You're back in the saddle?
Back in the saddle, man. I got the final news that I was going here, and we made the decision of the morning of one of my games. And that day I had to pack up pretty much everything I needed for the next 6 months that I'm going to be here in Haifa. Obviously, the season that I had here was bittersweet. I had a couple of injuries, but we won the championship together with a bunch of great guys, and it was great to come back to a big organization like this.
Now healthy, Coleman quickly had to learn Haifa's offensive and defensive sets if he wanted to make an immediate impact and help stop a 4-game losing streak.
We played it also with Brad. Pass, pass, open up. High pick and roll, replace. Okay, the 4 is coming back up, and the 5. At the end of the day, pick and roll.
Every year you go through a new offense, even with the same coach. Sometimes they change it out throughout the season, so you have to pick that up quick. Now we just sat down and went over him, and he's doing it the right way. He's giving me a couple, not throwing all of them at me at the same time. And so we're going to go over them on paper first, and then run them through, and then get into action.
Coleman proved adept at running the offense. In his first game back, he scored 15 points in 32 minutes, contributing to an 83-69 win over Nahariya. The season is nearly at its halfway point. Teams have had a brief break to examine their strengths and weaknesses as they prepare for the next phase of the schedule. After 13 games, 6 teams stand out with winning records. The league's best at 11-2 is reigning champion Maccabi Tel Aviv. The club started the season with a new head coach after David Blatt moved on to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA. But Guy Goodis has the team right back at the top spot in the league. After starting 4-2, the team is now rolling with 7 straight dominating wins. In a tie for second at 9-4 is Hapoel Jerusalem, considered an early season favorite after the club signed last year's MVP Dante Smith, as well as head coach Danny Franco, both previously from the 2014 runner-up Maccabi Haifa. The team started off strong but has struggled of late, losing 4 straight Winter League games. Also at 9-4 is a surprising Rishon LeZion. Usually middle of the pack in the league, the club has surged of late. Rounding out the top spots are Nez Ziona, Hapoel Holon, and Hapoel Tel Aviv. A group of Americans led the league in scoring. At the top is Nez Ziona's Craig Smith, a power forward out of Boston College and a 2006 draft pick of the Minnesota Timberwolves. In assists, a pair of Israeli point guards topped the league. Isaac Roosevelt, a 29-year-old league veteran, is averaging nearly double figures in rebounding. Maccabi Haifa began to hit their stride after adding Hanan Coleman to the roster. Ike Ofebu clearly is the team's go-to guy. He's fifth in the league in scoring. However, Haifa still had roster holes to fill. First, they needed depth at point guard. They looked to Israeli veteran Moran Roth. Last season's starter re-signed for another stint with the club.
Moran Roth fits to the spirit of the team. He's intensive, he plays with a lot of passion, good teammate, releasing the ball very quickly and creating opportunities for other players to score or to pass another pass. I think Moran lifted up the tempo of the game offensively.
Next, the team needed another slasher to complement Ike. Their answer came in the form of a 26-year-old swingman, Will Graves. The former University of North Carolina Tar Heel comes in from Iceland's top league, where he averaged nearly 23 points a game.
My responsibility is, first of all, learn the plays and learn how to find my way individually within the team system. The coach has been working well with me. He's been taking his time with me in practice, and everything's been going great.
The revamped Greens went on the road to Jerusalem, a game in a brand new arena and a hostile environment. The game was tight throughout. Haifa's shots were falling. They made good on 15 of 21 three-pointers, fueling a second-half surge. Haifa had a 2-point lead with seconds to go in the game. Dante Smith was fouled and came to the line shooting 3. But he missed the first 2 shots for a potential tie. His last shot was a desperate attempt for a rebound, but Haifa recovered and held on for the big victory. Maccabi Haifa is surging and climbing back up the standings just in time for the season's second half.
The team is cooperating better. First of all, better shooting ability as a team, and that creates opportunities for other players. And second, the speed of ball movement changed a lot. Both Moran, Will, and also Hanan give us another dimension with the speed of decision making within the same set offense that we played before.
The life of an international basketball player is not easy, especially during the holiday season. Now living in a country far from home, the only family these teammates have are each other.
I was playing in Spain, really tough, away from the family, nobody can help you, nobody can cook for you, so it's a tough situation, you know.
Probably the last 8 years of my life, been away for Christmas.
Maybe in 10 years, maybe once or twice I've been home for Thanksgiving or Christmas, so it's a sacrifice for sure. I mean, if it's something you want to do, you got to sacrifice some family time.
The Jewish people is really the most friendly. They're like
warm.
They want to make you feel home, like, you know.
Like warm, friendly people. Everybody coming to eat here. Want to make everybody feel at home because it's really hard to be away from home.
They eat a lot, you know. Far away from home, no mom, no dad. We try to help them out.
They don't celebrate Hanukkah. We do as a family because I come from a Jewish family. I have some family here, but obviously not as close as the family I have back home. And it's tough to be away from home, but it's great when you have guys like Al and Doogie to take care of us.
We know who the man of the house is. Doogie's wife, we love you too.
Honestly, I just know about the candles. But other than that, I don't know anything about Hanukkah.
For the most part, this will be my first time, I guess, celebrating Hanukkah. So
what you learn? What you know?
Like, I know it's more than one day. It's like a week at least. 8 days to be exact.
I knew that though.
He didn't know that. But anyways, it's like 12 candles. How many candles?
8 candles, man. I knew that.
Okay, I'm getting Hanukkah and Kwanzaa mixed up right now. I'm sorry.
Hanukkah is basically celebrating the victory of the Jewish people, the Maccabees, over the Greeks. So the Maccabees, they were left with only one small can of oil, and they say, we are done, it's not going to last for us, and it lasted for 8 days. So that's called the miracle of the Hanukkah. Ma'oz tu Yeshuati lechana
Last year when we went to the Dead Sea, just experiencing that, something that you hear as a little kid growing up, just the stories and just being able to see it live, it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling.
Up here in the north, you got a certain kind of way, and in Tel Aviv, obviously, that's a whole different type of a city. And then you go to Jerusalem, all of a sudden you're in the religious Mecca. The holidays especially, like you see, you really get a different feel for the religion and for the holidays. So that was a great experience for me.
So it's definitely a dream come true. I mean, this is something I can knock off my bucket list while being able to do what I love. So it's a great opportunity and a blessing all in one.
Maccabi Haifa now holds the most important key to a successful team: chemistry on and off the court. The exact goal owner Jeff Rosen and his staff set out to achieve.
What I think about the players in general, and not specifically about my players, but about professional basketball players, that because it comes usually for them quite easy, they have the talent and they have the privilege to make a living of what they love. I think that they will appreciate it more when it's finished, when it's done, when they go for the next job, or especially when their career will be over.